right, I think we may as well we'll crack on if that's okay with everybody. Yeah, let's like I say, hopefully everybody's well. We're just going to try and I was going to talk a little bit about my career, which has obviously spanned over quite a long time now to start with, and then I think you're going to send some questions in, and we can hopefully answer a few of your questions as well. So I was lucky enough to go into racing when I was 16 to David Nicholson's in the Cotswolds, and it was just for me it was all I wanted to do. I rode ponies a lot when I was growing up, and I thought being a jockey sounded a perfect career. Probably didn't quite realise all the work that went involved. I think when you're a child, you see the races and you think that's it, all of it. But like I say, when I was 16, I went to work for David Nicholson, just as a stable lad, as a hopeful jockey, and it was a dream, I suppose, at the time, but something I really enjoyed. And like I say, David Nicholson was very, very good to me, and I think he enjoyed his young staff. And we had a great team of lads there. Obviously, we had a great team of horses as well, which always helps when you've got good horses to look after and ride. But that was sort of my initial start into racing, and then started off as an amateur, and again rode in pointer points, and rode some very slow pointer pointers to start with. I think that's what got me used to kicking and pushing. And my first ever ride was on a horse called Rusty Bridge, owned by my grandfather and bred by my grandfather on the farm. And he was very slow, but he kept going. And like I said, I think he taught me a lot of good things. Taught me how to keep pushing and never give up. So like I said, I've got a lot to thank him for, I think. And things just snowballed really. I was again started to have the odd winner, and then David Nicholson actually started putting me up as well as his amateur, and then I turned conditional when I was 18. And like I say, it was a bit of a snowball really. I was lucky to get a chance to ride for Noel Chance when he came over to first of all to England as a trainer as well. His main owner wanted me to ride for him, so that was a good break and a good start too. And obviously horses like Mr. Mulligan, I rode him in his novice chase days, and obviously he went on to win a Gold Cup. He was a fantastic horse, and I had lots of slightly better horses when I started riding for Noel, as well as David Nicholson. So that was another stepping point in my career, I think. I never thought he'd actually become my father-in-law. That was something I didn't imagine. I'll talk about that later on. From Noel Chance and also Henry Daly, when he took over from Captain Foster, I started riding for Henry Daly as well. So there was sort of three trainers that even by the age of 18 I was already able to ride for three top class trainers. And again, when you're riding for good trainers, riding nice horses, that's all you want to do as a jockey, and obviously it makes it a lot easier when you're riding nice horses. So I was on the right path then, and I think I had a little bit of luck, and it's all gone really, really well. And I can never really say that I've had a time when I've questioned my idea of being a jockey. Obviously you get injuries along the way, and that's part and parcel of it. But again, with the help of my agent Dave Roberts, who again has looked after me ever since I was a conditional jockey, I think your agent as well is very important for hopefully getting you as many rides and as good a rides as possible, but also trying to keep you off probably some of the more dangerous ones, and trying to keep you in one piece. So as much as we all want to ride as many as possible, there are certain horses that if they've fallen in 4 novice chases and the trainer's still considering running in another chase, you think maybe that's not such a wise move. So it's been a sort of a lucky start, I suppose. But it's carried on really, really well. And obviously when David Nicholson retired and Alan King took over, that was sort of the next stepping stone that obviously carried on riding for Alan. And obviously he moved to Barbie Castle quite early on. And again, for quite a long time I was riding for him when he was there. And again, someone else's bad luck has been my good luck with Richard Dunwoody. Obviously was my idol growing up, and obviously it was fantastic to ride with him and against him. I thought he was a fantastic jockey and brilliant at what he did, but unfortunately through injury, he had to take slightly early retirement, and at the time he was riding for Philip Hobbs, and again I don't know quite how, but I was lucky enough to sort of fall into the job, I suppose, because at the time, perhaps there's quite a few of the top jockeys were already taken up with big jobs, and Philip asked me to start riding for him, and obviously that's lasted ever since. So it's been a very long association, well over 20 years now. So again, that's for me, that's been a fantastic part of my career. I've ridden for obviously Henry Daly and Philip Hobbs now for over 20 years, and hopefully they trust me, and I've been very grateful for their support. And as a jockey, when you get injured, to have a trainer that you're riding for that will as soon as you're back fit and ready to ride again, put their face straight back in you and let you back on the horses, that's there's no better feeling, and to have that backing behind you. So I think that's hugely supportive as well. So again, that's sort of been the people I've ridden for, and probably some of the best horses I've ridden. Obviously Anzen was my first festival winner, and it took me a few years to get it, but very, very poignant really. It was trained by David Nicholson. It was my first winner at Cheltenham at the festival, and his last as a trainer. So I think that was fantastic. It was a bit of a shock. I think he was 40 to 1, and he just got up in the last strides to win on that day, and huge day for me, and a day I'll never forget. So Anzen, obviously a fantastic horse, but very special for me. And Cheltenham is, it sounds bad because I think it shouldn't be the be all and end all for a season or for a jockey or trainer, or an owner, but and a stable lads that lead them up. But I think there is something very special about Cheltenham, and for me it is the place we all want to ride winners. So obviously that was my first festival winner, and then the following year I was unbelievably lucky to, again for no chance, to end up riding Looks Like Trouble in the Gold Cup, and to win a Gold Cup. I definitely didn't appreciate it then as much as I should have, and didn't quite realise at the age of 22 I was to ride a Gold Cup winner was incredible. So that was fantastic, and Looks Like Trouble now, he still lives with me here now at home, and again he's 28 now, and again he's going strong. He's just a fantastic horse, and has been great for obviously for me for a long time, but the children and my wife Fiona, she used to ride him a lot. Unfortunately now he's getting a bit old for that, so we leave him alone and let him enjoy his retirement. But he's in very, very good form, and fingers crossed we'll have him to keep us going for a bit longer. But again, I didn't expect it to, unfortunately at the time. I didn't realise how hard Gold Cup rides were to get, let alone to win the race. So I probably didn't realise it was going to take me 18 years to get another crack at the whip. And obviously Native River, which I'm sure obviously a lot of you will have seen him run and maybe even seen the Gold Cup he won. But for me, he's an unbelievable horse. He started off. I won a Grade 1 novice chasing at Aintree with him. Then he won the Hennessy the following year and the Welsh National, and then he was third in the Gold Cup in 2017, and then to win the Gold Cup in 2018 was a dream come true really. And again that time when I passed the line, I definitely had a bit more time to soak up the atmosphere and realise what it was all about, and how lucky I was there to be there, and also to enjoy that time. So that's there's some of the very good horses. Obviously Rooster Booster was another flying machine. Again, I got run away with I think most of the way through the Champion Hurdle. So again, he was a star, and it was obviously fantastic to ride a big Cheltenham winner for Philip. That was obviously when in my early days with Philip. But again, those Cheltenham winners I think for everybody, they make you feel on top of the world, and I think whether you're a jockey or a trainer or an owner or a stable lad or girl, leading up, there's nothing that can sort of replace that over jumps anyway. And I'm sure on the flat, whether it's Royal Ascot or the Derby, I'm not sure, but those big days do mean an awful lot. I've always loved going to the little meetings and riding winners there, and I still get just as much buzz out of that. But the big days at Cheltenham especially, I think are very, very hard to replace. And I'd hate to think what it's going to be like when unfortunately I can't do that anymore. But I say that's sort of my sort of career so far, and we've unfortunately we're champion jockey for the 4 years before last season, and then obviously unfortunately broke my arm, which I was already getting a very hard race with Brian Hughes at the time, but broke my arm in January, and obviously that really put I was still hoping that we could bridge the gap, but obviously when racing stopped, that unfortunately that dream sort of disappeared. But I suppose the only bonus of having this enforced holiday is my arms had a bit more time to recover, so hopefully that's a good thing going forward. And like I say, moving on to unfortunately the sort of lockdown and the coronavirus, and I think everyone's really found it in different ways, hard work, and it's been probably for my body's enjoyed the rest and a bit of time off, but it's been hard to deal with, I think, on most people's levels, just the difference of a daily routine. And I'm very lucky here at home. We've plenty of horses and youngsters around, so I'm not I haven't been starved of opportunities to deal with the horses. But again, I've actually had a lot more time to spend with my children, and got three lovely children. But the homeschooling for them has been a whole new level for me, and my two young boys wouldn't be the most. I think unfortunately they take after me, and probably not that hugely enamoured with school. So they've definitely found it a challenge, and I think I found it a challenge trying to sit next to them and get them to do their work as well. So like I say, I think for our whole family, the virus and the lockdown has been fantastic to spend that much extra time together. But everyone's found their problems, I think, dealing with the situation. And unfortunately, obviously, this week we've seen some people very, very close to us that have really struggled with it. And I know that out there, a lot of people do find this quiet time very, very hard work. So I think not to touch on it, dwell on it for too long, but I think especially for the racing industry, there is lots of people out there that can help, and I know it has been a really hard time, and just hope that anyone that's feeling a little bit under pressure or not finding things that easy, speak to people. And I know obviously with these coffee mornings, obviously I can't go ahead at the moment, and it's not quite the same just being sat in front of a computer or an iPad trying to interact with other people. There is help out there, and people to speak to, and whether it's friends or professional people, the help is there, and I'm sure everyone would like to support each other in this time. So moving on to happier things, we shall try and answer some of your questions now. I think you've listened to me waffle for just long enough. I don't want to bore you all for too long, but I've now got to try and work out how I find these questions. Chloe's asked, do you have any other X-ray sources at home as well as Looks Like Trouble? Yes, we do. We've also, I'm very lucky to have Minora here as well. Again, Minora's been, what was a fantastic horse for me to ride when there's a pre-novice herd at Cheltenham. So again, he's another Cheltenham winner, but had an amazing career. He retired when he was 12, and again, he's been fantastic to me as a racehorse, and now the Waitley's let me have him at home, and Willow, our eldest daughter, has ridden him as well, and he is without doubt, a fantastic horse, and quiet and straightforward, and yeah, a pleasure to have around the place. So Menorah will be here for hopefully an awful long time to come. Paul Dalton's asked, what was your favourite course to ride novice chaser at? I presume that's Paul Dalton, the trainer. So, but I think look, it's always nice to take a novice chaser to a nice galloping track, and somewhere that gives the horses a chance to jump their fences. Uttoxeter actually, I think, is a lovely track to start, a hurdle or a chaser on. So is Exeter and Chepstow. I think that, those tracks they seem to give horses time to get into a rhythm, and I think for most horses it's I'm sure we've all ridden horses that some are faster than others, and it's all about having the horse having time to get into their rhythm, and basically if they're in a rhythm and enjoying themselves, hopefully their jumping will find it easier. So that's definitely what we're looking forward to. We don't want to unfortunately put them under pressure and unfortunately end up on the floor. So hopefully that any course that gives you time. Rachel has asked, are the kids keen to follow in your footsteps, becoming a jockey? I think they all ride ponies, again, and they all enjoy it, and they all like coming to the races. I think if you ask them, they all at different times just said they want to be a jockey. But yeah, I think that we'll have to just wait and see. If they want to have a go and enjoy it, that's brilliant. But at the same time, there's no pressure. I think as you grow, you all decide on what you want to do. Hopefully they can ride their pony, and I think if you can ride, it's a great skill to have, for fun or for work, and it gives you an opportunity to go and do lots of different things. So hopefully they'll all enjoy themselves, and like I say, if they want to have a go, Willow's had a go pony racing already, my eldest daughter, and she loved it. So she's had one ride at Cheltenham, so I think she's very proud of that fact. Unfortunately, a pony wasn't fast enough, which I was told afterwards. But like I say, I'm sure they'll all have a go at the pony racing, and it is a great way of keeping the children involved. I think whether they're going to become a jockey or not, I think it's great for especially the boys probably that used to drop out of riding ponies. When they got to a teenager, I think now racing is keeping them. Pony racing is keeping them involved and giving them an interest. Polly has said she picked Laylor out at sales as a 3-year-old and followed him. Not seen him for a long time. Is he injured? No, I'm pretty sure he's fine. Obviously, I think you probably would have seen him. After just after all racing stopped. Really, I think Aintree was probably a place he might have gone to because he's had a fantastic record there. Obviously, I was lucky to win the champion bumper on him there, and a Grade 1 novice hurdle on him there. So he's been a fantastic horse, and there's lots more good days to come with him. And again, I'm not surprised you picked him out at the sales. He's a fantastic looking horse, lovely big horse with moves very nicely, and again he's just a lovely horse to be involved with, and he does look the part. So I think because he probably hadn't got the strongest pedigree, and there was a few people that liked him but left him behind, and now I'm sure they regret it. So you'll be seeing him later next year, I'm sure. What has been your career highlights up to now? Definitely, not an easy question, but I think for me, being champion jockey was always the thing I wanted to do, without doubt. It was always my dream. Obviously, it took me an awful long time. AP managed to get in my way for a lot of years, but again, to be champion jockey for me was always a dream, and so to achieve that, I feel very, very lucky, and hugely proud of becoming champion jockey. And again, a week today when we start racing again, that'll be the aim for next year, to try and regain the championship again. So I'm sure Brian Hughes and Sam Tristan Davis and Aidan Coleman and an awful lot of other jockeys will be going to Southwell on next Wednesday, with that dream as well. So we'll have to fingers crossed, give it a good go. Mark has asked, which horse are you most looking forward to riding when jump racing resumes? Yeah, hard question. Obviously Native River is the horse that I'm praying that will be back next year. Obviously he unfortunately missed the Gold Cup this year because he niggled an old injury, and unfortunately, we all know with horses that's always a worry. The owners were very keen this year to, if conditions looked okay, for him to take his chance in Grand National, and obviously that's the run race I've never won, and it would be lovely to win it. So if he can come back in one piece, it'd be lovely to go there with a obviously we know he's an amazing racehorse, and if he's fresh and well, and in one piece, I think he's he'd be the horse I probably most looking forward to riding. When you remember the highlights of what he's done already, it's amazing to think we can get back on him again. Who is a young jockey to follow? So we're just talking about the pony racing, and I think there's an unbelievable amount of sort of British young talent out there now. When I started, there was very few, English or Scottish, Welsh, jockeys around there. There was, Carl Llewellyn was the one jockey was riding when I started. Again, the majority were Irish born and came over here, and obviously had careers over here. So I think now there's an awful lot more English jockeys getting going. Obviously the Sean Bowen and James Bowen are doing fantastically well. Again, there's Richard Patrick is a lad that lives very close to me here now, and has done really well for Kerry Lee. It is just very hard to sort of name one young lad. I think there's a huge amount of young talent coming through, and unfortunately they keep pushing me, making me work harder and harder to keep my position. So again, there's lots coming through, and I think at the moment there's a very strong group of jockeys riding, full stop. Again, you have to make sure you're hopefully producing your A game every day to make sure you keep the rides you've already got, and it's very hard to find new rides, and that's the thing. I think it's very important, like I was saying earlier, to I'm very lucky to have loyal trainers to ride for, and that's a big thing now. I think is the main thing is you've got to find good people to work for, and hopefully if you work for them, that's a big help. Who was your idol when you first set out? Again, I think I touched on it earlier, but Richard Dunwoody was definitely my idol when I was just before I came into racing. Obviously Peter Scudamore was probably my idol when I first started seeing the newspaper on my mum and dad's kitchen table, because again he was a local lad. I live in Herefordshire, and he was again a Herefordshire lad that obviously had done really, really well, and again I think it's he was several times champion jockey, and so I think that was my first idol in racing, and then Richard Dunwoody, sort of as probably unfortunately as Ski retired, I moved on to Richard Dunwoody because he was the man of the moment. So but again, there's a huge amount of jockeys I looked up to, and when I went into racing to start with, the likes of Graham Bradley and Brendan Powell, Warren Marston, people that were all still riding, helped me immensely, and to have a friendly face when you walk in the weighing room to start with was an amazing thing. So very lucky to have been helped, from day one really. And again, the weighing room is a very friendly place, and on the good days, they'll celebrate with you, and on the bad days, they'll be there to sort of pick you up and make sure you're okay. So it's the weighing room's a fantastic place, and I think I've been blessed to meet an awful lot of fantastic jockeys and be friends with an awful lot as well. And obviously, as we said, AP McCoy kept beating me, but great friend and someone that I enjoyed riding with or against. And it was a sad day when he retired, but obviously it was a two-sided coin for me really. sad to see him go, and probably delighted to see him go because it gave me a better chance. So yeah, all things equal, yeah, lots of good friends in the weighing room, and that will be very. That's one of the things that when jockeys retire, I think they find the hardest to, not to be in the weighing room every day, which we're used to doing usually, 6-7 days a week. Fran said, what brought you to racing and become a jockey? I was fortunate to ride ponies when I was growing up on the farm, and again, both my grandparents or sets of grandparents and my mum and dad were interested in racing. My dad rode as an amateur, and I think they all did it for their sort of their sport and their fun and their hobby, and I was sort of I suppose bitten by the bug and thought, well, can I do it as a career? And lucky enough it worked out really well, which obviously is not obviously wasn't guaranteed. So I feel very, very lucky to have sort of lived my dream as it were. So and also someone's just asked, hopefully won't be retiring too soon, but do you have any plans for career media training? I think unfortunately I am at the wrong end of the spectrum now really for a jockey, but I still really enjoy it. So no plans to retire, hopefully too soon. But I've already again we live back on my parents' farm now, and myself and my wife do have we have 5 brood mares here now. So we're trying to set up a small stud and with national hunt mares, and that's been something I've been doing for a few years now, and that's something I really enjoy. And I don't really want to be a trainer, as good as it is to see the horses do well and obviously win. I think after being a trainer, dealing with owners, dealing with staff, I think maybe I'll leave that to somebody else. Hopefully I can bring the horses on and get them to the point where they get ready to go into training, and then somebody else can take over that knows what they're doing. So hopefully that's something that I'll be breeding and sort of I suppose pre-training or getting horses ready to go into racing or into training. So that's my hope, and obviously probably mixed in with the farming as well. So again, it's hopefully that's all to look forward to, and whether any media work or comes my way, we'll have to wait and see. But the most important thing I think is I definitely want to stay in racing. I want to be involved with racing. At what level we're not quite sure yet, but we'll reach that bridge when we get to it. But at the moment, the most important day for me is next Wednesday at Southwell on the 1st July. So hopefully that'll be hopefully get back on the scoreboard with a bit of luck. Hopefully you're going to see the entries later on and see how it's looking. I'm not sure if there's any more questions, or well, hopefully it's been reasonably informative, and hopefully you've enjoyed listening to some of my chat and what I've been up to, and like I say, I hope everyone has a good summer ahead of them. At least the weather has been it's fantastic today, but hopefully the weather will stick up so we can have a nice summer, and hopefully by the time the winter comes back again, racing will be back, and in every way, and hopefully people will be able to go racing and also generally catch up with each other, and in these coffee mornings every week we'll be able to start back, and you can actually catch up with each other on a face-to-face basis, which I think is always nicer than speaking to a screen. But again, thank you for having me and listening to me, and good luck with everything in the future.